It's a brand new day for Spider-Man. Spider-Man Brand New Day is now in theaters, and I have seen the movie, and I will just sum it up in one word. Amazing! Yes, Spider-Man has returned to the big screen after a 5-year hiatus, the last film being No Way Home, but that's not if you include Across the Spider-Verse, which came out in June of 2023. I have seen every single Spider-Man movie at the same theater for the last 24 years. I'm not going to tell you all how old I am, but yeah. No. Um this film literally the title of it is so perfect because it is literally a brand new day for Spider-Man. There's some time jump, there's some extra villains, there's Peter being alone, no J. Jonah Jameson, no Daily Bugle, funny enough. There's that. Yeah, I think that this movie in particular, I might have said it in my TikTok review, but I think the new if the first trilogy was about the origin of this version of Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man and the embracing Spider-Man in a way, that's not quite what I said. I think I said something more along the lines of like, if the first trilogy is more like what it means to be Spider-Man, this film emphasizes the importance of Spider-Man in New York City and how he's become the New York hero and how he's evolved past that, but also how Peter struggles with this dual personality, which I think you don't really see in too many modern superhero movies because they kind of just gloss over the whole secret identity thing. But this movie avidly goes out of its way, rightfully so, to play on the fact that Spider-Man has a secret identity again following the events of No Way Home, and even so much so that like there are some really great humorous moments where Peter is literally just wearing his mask talking to another character whom I won't say. But yes, this movie does play on the secret identity factor quite a bit, and it's done really well. I really did enjoy this movie. I think the overall plot wasn't necessarily hard to follow, but it does kind of make you wonder, does this feel like a traditional Spider-Man comic or story? And in a way, yes, but also in other ways it doesn't. You can absolutely tell that this was a film produced from Marvel Studios, and they are using this movie to platform and springboard certain other characters, which I will get into in a non-spoiler, in a very spoilery fashion later on in the video. But overall, Tom Holland was fantastic. Zendaya was great. John Bernthal was incredible as the Punisher, and Mark Ruffalo did a banger job as Incredible Hulk. I really did enjoy this movie. I will say though, I cannot rank it quite yet. I need to watch this movie again to figure out where it ranks. So I'm going to wait until I see it a second time to officially rank it, because I feel like recency bias would put it a little too high. So I do think I need to watch this film again before I can definitively not only rank it on a Spider-Man list, but also rank it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe ranking as well. But I did enjoy it. I loved it a lot. If there was one thing that kind of stood out to me, it was how quickly we ran through some of the other villains that Spider-Man has fought in the comics. That was one thing that kind of stood out to me after thinking about it and sitting on it on the ride home, was that there were some villains in this movie that were announced, and they were literally just in the beginning, and that's all you see of them. And it's like, oh, that's nice, I guess. But let's I can't really talk about this movie without diving into spoilers. More specifically with regards to Sadie Sink's character. So, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. If you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to skip ahead, or rather, if you don't want to be spoiled, you can stop right here. But this is where I'm going to just say I love this movie. It's a great Spider-Man movie. It's worthy of the title. Tom Holland is fantastic as Spider-Man, and this is a wonderful addition to the pantheon of Spider-Man movies. It is definitely higher rather than lower on a Spider-Man ranking, if you ask me. I just don't know where it ranks just yet. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into spoilers. You still there? Okay. So, the trailer showed this character who could jump in between bodies, telepathy, all that shit. And it was pretty much spoiled on the internet who Sadie Sink was, and I will just say it right here. If you're still watching, more power to you. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm going to say. When the reveal came that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey, I audibly shouted, "Motherfucker!" For a few different reasons. Number one, because I hate it when scoopers spoil shit like that so early on. This has been a rumored thing for such a long time. I think Empire or EW they shared comics you need to read for going into this film, and there was a Jean Grey comic that was part of it, and I was just like, all right, fuck, she is Jean Grey. So it's revealed in the movie, yes, she is in fact Jean Grey. And Jean Grey, anyone who knows me knows that Jean Grey is my favorite X-Men character of all time. And I on one hand, I wasn't exactly keen on her being the villain or antagonist of this movie, but then on the other hand, as the plot moves forward and you find out why she's doing what she's doing, it so much becomes less she's the villain and more the antagonist, and in so much so that like you can understand where this antagonist is coming from due to personal reasons. And I will say that Department of Damage Control, you could argue they are probably the villain of the movie. But that said, I like Sadie Sink. I think she's a great actress. I need to see more of her as Jean, and I feel like this is exactly what Marvel is anticipating. I do just find it kind of awkward and weird that, of all places to introduce, a new X-Men, a new, this is your first, taste of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's X-Men. It's here, and it's Jean Grey, played by Sadie Sink, and it's going to be very interesting to see who else they decide to fill out the roster with. Who will be her Cyclops, who's going to be the Professor X, because the ending of the movie has her going off on a bus. I'm assuming somewhere up north. I don't know, but what's really interesting is there was a fight between Hulk and Punisher, and it's all orchestrated by Jean Grey in the second act. It's incredible. And Peter's also kind of dealing with this not necessarily entity, but like his own other self, because there is a story that this movie does take inspiration from called The Other, in which Spider-Man kind of cocoons himself and his powers kind of mutate and they evolve. So he really does, by the end of this film, embrace that side of him, and he becomes like more powerful. Like the Spider-Man who is superbly strong and superior in certain senses to a lot of other Marvel characters, you get that showcased at the end. That's one thing I also really loved about this film, was Destin Daniel Cretton's ability to showcase just how epic in scale Spider-Man's powers can be portrayed, and that final fight with him in the hand really does a great job of showcasing that. So much so that like you see Spider-Man's near full potential displayed on screen, and it is spectacular, pun intended. And man, I also we got to talk about the whole friendship aspect of this, because Ned and MJ are a part of this movie as well, but they kind of do take a bit of a back seat by necessity, only because Peter is going out of his way to protect them from harm's way by way of the end of No Way Home. But then of course by the end of the movie, Peter runs into Ned, and there's a bit where Peter does save MJ in a certain respect throughout the movie, and there's a gnarly, heartbreaking twist there with that. I won't say exactly how it plays into the movie, but there's just this really heartbreaking sequence that happens with Zendaya's MJ and Peter's Spider-Man on a rooftop, and it's not all it's cracked up to be, and it's just very, very heartbreaking. And it's like, ooh, that's cold. But yeah, there are other things going on with that too that I don't really necessarily feel like spoiling. I mean, honestly, the big spoiler isn't really that much of a spoiler, because it was spoiled on the internet a while ago. And the fact that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, that's kind of the big thing, and that's really what when that reveal happens, it kind of makes you kind of head turn a little bit, because obviously Jean Grey is commonly portrayed as like a heroic character in the X-Men, and if she's embodied by the Phoenix Force, then she's obviously more of an antagonist, if not an outright villain. So seeing her as an antagonist in this movie, for the reasons that she is, it really did make a lot of sense. I'm not going to divulge completely what that is, but it was very interesting to see just how they introduced her character. And it does kind of lead into, well, if she's here in this universe as who she is, it makes you wonder who else is going to come up eventually. But I'd have to imagine all of that is going to get answered in a post Secret Wars X-Men film. Either way, you know, I had a lot of fun with this. This was an incredible experience. This was a beautiful movie, well-made movie. Yes, there is a post-credit scene, and it is a very fun way of leading into Doomsday or Secret Wars, because the movie, as Marvel movies tend to, they tend to end with X hero will return in X movie. Well, this movie ends with Spider-Man will return. It does not clarify whether or not Spider-Man will be in Doomsday or Spider-Man will be in Secret Wars, or even to kind of hint at the post-credit scene a little bit. It doesn't even tell you which Spider-Man will return. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But overall, I'm going to give this film 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5, whatever. Like, this was just an amazing movie, incredibly well made from start to finish. Just tons of fun. Just absolutely incredible. And the rewatch value of this is impeccable, because I am already making plans to go see this a second time. So do yourselves a favor. Go see Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a worthwhile movie. It's a lovely movie. It's a beautiful addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and a nice little tee up to Avengers Doomsday, which I did get the trailer for before I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this was absolutely worth it. My name is Unfiltered. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, follow for more. If you love this shit, I know I love this shit, and if you love what I do, please do all the things. Much love. Take care.